Hey y'all, and welcome to PolitiBrawl. My name is Brian, and Tom Homan goes into the Wolf's lair with Wolf Blitzer and goes toe-to-toe with him, reminding him of what good immigration policy actually is. This is must-see TV, but before we dive into the video, I want to give a quick shout-out to our great sponsors at Native Path. Their products, particularly their collagen, can help you live a healthier life, but more on that later. Now, let's get back into the video.
I said it 100 times. I can't blame anybody who want to be a part of the greatest country on earth. But there's a right way and wrong way to do it. We got thousands of people standing in line the way they're supposed to stand in line.
All right, so let me, because I know that we're going back and forth, but if you say it's a misdemeanor, public intoxication, for example, is a misdemeanor, right? That's a misdemeanor. You don't separate families if there's public intoxication.
Let's just cut to the chase on what's the underlying issue here, right? So let's talk about where we were before the zero tolerance policy is put in place, because American people need to understand that. Under the current process, we can't detain them long enough to see a judge. They don't show up in court. Most of them lose their cases.
Most of them do show up in court.
40,000 absentia orders last year. Bottom line is they're not following the judge's order. So let's leave it there, right? They're ignoring judge's order. If you and I ignore a judge's order, we're going to jail. So they ignore a judge's order. So if that's the message we want to send, the rest of the world says, come to this country. No, let me finish, please. Violate the laws of this country, ignore a judge's order, and you're fine. Go have your U.S. citizen child, and we won't ever separate you, because now we don't want to separate families. What that does, Wolf, is that continues to entice people to make this dangerous journey. This isn't just about enforcing the law. This is about saving lives.
But you're punishing...
People die coming to this country every day, and we keep enticing them with a promise of sanctuary, a promise of we'll look the other way, promise you get a pass. We got to stop that.
But you're separating these families even before they don't show up in court, in advance of the fear that they might not do the right thing. That's when you're separating these families, and that's what's causing so much anguish, so much heartburn across the country right now when they see the separation of the zero tolerance, this new policy that was enacted in April.
Then the parents need to make a clear choice. Enter through a port of entry, you won't be separated.
It's unfair to the men and women of ICE to make them engage in an inhumane policy.
Then the parents of these illegal alien children, they need to make better decisions. Like I hope I'm making the right decisions for my children, they need to do the same. Don't put your kids in the arms of smuggling organizations. Don't put your kids through this treacherous journey. Don't make your kids cross that river. Make your kids walk into the port of entry with you, where there's air conditioning, there's people there to greet you, there's people that will hear your case. Don't break the law and go around, because the fine men and women on the border, these are American heroes that strap a gun to their hip every day and defend that line. While they're dealing with this migration, there's drugs, there's guns, there's bad people who want to enter this country, do what's wrong. If you want to come to this country, do it the right way. Go to a port of entry. This is a choice clearly made by the parents, and I will not stand by and let people vilify the men and women of ICE or of Border Patrol.
We're not vilifying.
You've been fair.
We're not vilifying. We appreciate the men and women of ICE, and as someone who appreciates, and I've seen what you guys do, and we're very, very grateful for the important work that you do. It hurts me, and it hurts so many people who are involved with ICE to be forced into to punish children for what their parents may be doing.
We're not punishing children.
The children are being punished.
At the fault of their parents. Their parents are making a clear decision.
But the ICE personnel have to deal with that, and it clearly looks so inhumane.
That's our job. Our job is to enforce law. We don't get to pick and choose what we do. We enforce law. Every law enforcement officer, I've been doing this 34 years. I've seen a lot of terrible things in my career. Every police officer sees sad things, but he still got to do his job.
I'm not going to lie, Tom Homan had a difficult time in the first half because he technically got something wrong. The majority of people who have to go before a judge in regards to illegal immigration cases, they show up. The majority do show up. But there's a huge chunk that don't, and that makes everything worse for everyone. That is not a good system. And Tom Homan is out here making the argument that this is the best one we have, and we need to amp it up. And furthermore, Wolf Blitzer is trying his best to say, oh, you're not supposed to separate the kids. Here's the reality. The cartels are participating in one of the largest human trafficking events in the world. They will take people across the border illegally, often tattoo a sign or a number, give them a sponsor, and that sponsor makes sure that the cartel gets paid by putting this kid up through either something terrible or by putting them into terrible working conditions where unscrupulous businesses will hire them, and I've known businesses that will do this, simply because these people will work dirt cheap. Hey y'all, I wanted to give a quick shout out to our new sponsors, Native Path. Created by Dr. Chad out of Austin, Texas, he realized that there was something deeply wrong in this medical community. Instead of focusing on nutrition, they were just focused on serving big pharma. So he left and created this new company called Native Path. And what do they do over there? They sell something called collagen. Now, what is collagen? Well, it's not magic fairy dust. It's not this muscle milk. It's not calcium rich. Instead, it is an odorless, flavorless, dissolves completely in water powder that you can mix. And unlike iocane powder, this stuff has massive health benefits. It can help your bones, your joints, your ligaments, your skin, your hair follicles, even your fingernails. This stuff is absolutely packed with the nutrients that we lose so constantly in our modern diet. This stuff is a fantastic supplement, can help you live a healthier life. And if you go to this link down here below, you will find up to 45% off of certain products. That is how much Native Path cares about your health. So go check them out, link in the description below. And now, back to regularly scheduled programming. Because it's better than working in Mexico. It's better than working in Guatemala. It's better than working in Venezuela, that's for sure. So the cartels will do something heinous. And so the reason that we separate kids at the border, at least used to do this, was to make sure that those indeed are the parents and everything's properly documented. Because if we don't, what ends up happening is often you can get someone who lies about being these kids' parents, and then they drop them off with a sponsor and go back across the other side of the border. So this is a surprisingly humane policy because it protects against something even just heinous to think about. And Wolf Blitzer refuses to admit that there's a possible good side, and I'm surprised Tom Homan didn't make that point. He's trying to normalize it, saying this is the way we've always done it. We even do this in our country. And Wolf Blitzer refuses to admit that there's some merit to this. And why does he do that? Because Wolf Blitzer is still a respected journalist to some degree, but he works for CNN, which means that the rich white liberals that is his audience, that must be catered to like they're the kings and queens of the ivory tower that they think they live in. And they must have their ego stroked, they must have their good thoughts placated, and they need to make sure that they feel good about themselves. That is the whole mantra of CNN. It's Ted Turner's dream now, isn't it? As this Georgia boy, I apologize that we've given this nation Jimmy Carter and CNN. I deeply apologize for that. However, I will take credit for Coca-Cola and the Atlanta Braves, so you're welcome for that. But y'all, the fact that we have media outlets that do this, instead of reporting the news, that instead of trying to get to the bottom of why a policy exists, you still have the mantra of twisting a story to make your audience feel better about themselves. That is a terrible state of journalism. It didn't used to be this way. As a matter of fact, we used to have a golden era of news. Post-World War II until about 1968. We had a golden era where the news was flat. They told you what was going on in the world. And I think the high watermark was Watergate. That's where real investigative journalism needs to come into play. We don't have that anymore. As a matter of fact, the best investigative journalist was the one that found that, what was his name? Mark Edwards of South Carolina knocked up one of his aides. And that story was broken by a tabloid, a supermarket tabloid. I believe it was the Inquirer. That journalist found a legitimate story faster than the rest of the mainstream media. That is the ultimate state of our journalism. And when you have this, it means that the truth is diluted, and we're not going to get to the bottom of anything. It's a sad state, and that's why people choose alternative sources of news these days. That's why YouTube channels and podcasts have become so popular. They are not constricted and confined by an editor and a producer talking in their ear to tell them what the talking points are. That is a more free journalistic quality, and y'all, I am here for it. That's how we make America understand the truth again. And it's not by listening to mainstream media outlets. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed this segment here on PolitiBrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. And until then, y'all have a good one.